Welcome to the Teaming Up Show, your guide to the future of real estate sales. Okay.
Hold on a second.
I know.
I gotta get it together.
I do too. I'm just gonna stand for a second. Welcome to the Teaming Up Show, your guide to the future of real estate. I'm Josh Pomerleau, joined by Brian McWhite again. Last episode of the day, what are we going to be talking about, bud?
We want to talk about how to build a real estate team culture that wins awards. And not just awards for sales or awards for numbers or whatever, but actually we recently won an award for being in the top 100 best companies to work for in Minnesota. From Minnesota Business Magazine, which we,
I know, that's what we're going to say.
We weren't taking it real seriously
I
at
know,
first, and
that's
then after the award
it bothers me so much that I didn't take it more seriously.
Well, I mean,
it's so much.
It's something that we talk about and drive about, and it's a big part of the reason we do this.
And I don't feel like winning an award makes it mean I was
exactly
it or not. So
I think that's why we didn't take it that seriously. But then after the award happened, we were kind of like, wow, okay, so this is actually a little bit of recommendation, a little bit of evidence, I guess, that we're doing what we've been wanting to do.
The number one thing we wanted to do.
Exactly.
I mean, it's assuming that we have a business where we can support each other financially. We can live.
We want to create great lives for the people we work with.
Because in 100 years, it's not going to matter how many homes we sold.
Yep.
It will not matter how many homes we sold.
So we were really excited about this, and so
I didn't go to the ceremony, which I can't believe I didn't go. Next year I'm going. Brian took it.
I'm the face of the company, unfortunately, for us.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah. So anyway, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things we've tried to put in place that makes this apparently a great company to work for.
Just fundamental people. People are the business, right? I mean, it's the people that makes a successful business. I read books and I read articles, and I hear that all the time. And then you hear other things, it's the product and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, how does that happen? I think it is a little bit cliche, and I almost hate saying it, that people are the business. But I mean, that's what we really have always believed with the best people. If you looked at how we hired, how we show up every single day, we truly believe that it's the people, nothing else. I mean, not nothing else, but almost nothing else matters if you don't. Because if you don't get the people right, it's not going to be a business anyways.
Right.
So that really shows you that. I want to show up every single day. I want to show up every single day to be able to be with great people.
Yep.
I mean, we do have Nate here. I mean, we have to say that sometimes that's been tough. But Nate's behind the camera. But literally, I look at it, if I have to come every single day and there's people here that I don't want to be around, I'm not going to show up. So that's what I tell myself. So I'm like, we have to have awesome people here. Also, we can't. It'll be interesting to see what happens as we grow, as we get bigger and bigger. Because I don't think that the team where we are today is what we will look like in 10 years. Not meaning that we're not going to hire worse people or anything like that. I just think our structure of our organization will be considerably different.
I'm sure.
And it'll be interesting to see how we navigate that.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. I'm just excited to see that. But,
so hiring the right people who are right for the culture is part of it. But then once the people are here, how do we think about actually creating a great workplace once they're here?
Right. Well, once you got the right people here, the great thing is you don't need to
maintain it that much.
You don't. I mean, of course, there's every day I'm looking at how, we can do this, or we can implement this new program, or how we can help people out better. We're thinking about those things all the day. The work doesn't ever just go away. But definitely when you have great people, you don't hire great people to manage them or micromanage them. I mean, if I get hired in an organization and I'm busting my butt and I'm doing everything, I'm doing it better than even like most people would do it in the organization, I don't want someone hovering over my shoulder telling me what I did right or wrong.
Right.
I mean, I want someone to be able to trust me, that knows that I'm going to fix it. Because I'm going to mess up, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to take care of it. But I have integrity and I have the heart to do the right thing. And when you have those type of people, because we get asked almost every time we do a class hiring, or we have had people in our office and they talk about accountability, so many people are stuck on accountability and thinking that you have to have a whip
Right.
in your hand to be able to get people to do certain things. And I'm like, man.
Carrot usually works better than a whip.
Right. That's a good statement.
Yeah.
And when you got the best people, they're going to want it more than you, or just as much. And then you're going to be like, it's going to be a relationship that's going to work because they want greatness, they want awesomeness, and everything they do, and so that it's going to filter right into what your goals are when you spend up front to hire the people that you want to be around with and that are talented.
Yep. So once people are actually in our organization, and hopefully we've brought on the right kind of people who want that kind of thing, it's very important to us. Some of these things are going to be really obvious, but it's very important to us to, one of the things we have to say sometimes is protect people from themselves.
Yes.
When you hire extremely driven people, typically speaking, extremely driven people are not good at taking
My buddy right here.
I want to talk, but are not good at taking care of themselves.
Most driven person you probably ever met, right next to me.
I don't know about that.
Well, you're just driven in every way. I'm not saying just driven in business.
Yeah.
Because you are one of the most driven persons I've ever met. You just filter it through 15 different or 20 different filters. Your church, your work, your physical fitness, your eating when you get on the bandwagon on that, business, family, you know.
Okay, so once you have the right people in place and they are all driven and they all are a good culture fit, the thing that we sometimes talk about is how you have to now protect them from themselves.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done.
It is.
But I think the organization has to do that. I mean, if we're hitting our goals, we're hitting all of our numbers, and we know we're on pace, and we have crazy driven people like Brian McWhite over here that are driven in not just business, but in 15 other ways, or they're starting churches, they're volunteering, they're helping their friends and neighbors. We got to make sure that we take the big picture here and not get just lost in just crushing it just for more money that we don't even care about making.
Right. And this is a good problem to have. It's really hard to teach people to drive.
Right.
It's easier to teach driven people how to take care of themselves.
Yes.
And so we're really big on encouraging people to take their vacation time, to get downtime, but I think two things are really important with that. You have to lead by example. So Josh does that. Josh and Sarah have always done that. You have to lead by example of what it looks like to be extremely driven and yet take care of yourself. And then as a leader of the organization, you have to make sure that there is no doubt that it's okay with people that you've communicated that it's okay to take that time, that you have to take that time, that as a leader it matters to you that your people take that time. Otherwise they won't take it because they won't want to look bad. And so I've always felt like, just to give an example, I think that I could do 200 listings a year.
You could do 200 listings, 100%.
And
or say 170.
But
maybe
probably
not 200.
But probably, I think I could do it.
I think you could.
But I think maybe it was 2 years ago. We were bringing on another listing person. I was the only listing person at that time, and I told Josh that I think I'd like to try to only take 2 nights of appointments a week now. I think I'd like to come to 2 weekday evenings a week and 1 Saturday a month for appointments. And everything else I'm going to fit into the day. And if I can't, if it doesn't work, then maybe we'll have to tweak it. But I want to try to make that work.
Yeah.
So I've got 5 nights a week at home, and Josh was fine with that. He didn't argue with it. He didn't say like,
because I would have done the same thing.
Right.
Because I think it helps. Maybe it's not like I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think when you're working with the people that view the world the same as you, it makes it a lot easier to implement things like that. I would have done the same thing. Like if someone said you're going to work 6 days a week, I'd be like, well, I'm working next door.
So that's going to create happy employees, happy teammates, but also it happens to have the side benefit of being more productive.
Yes.
Because even the best people are going to work themselves to the bone and burn out.
The studies, the evidence is clear on this. I don't think there's much of a debate. The people who have studied this to say that over a long period of time that you can keep burning the ends at stick at both ends, you'll lose there. So I want to create something that is sustainable. That when you got the best people, they're going to do the best that they could, and you're going to be okay. You, as an owner or as a business partner, when you put your trailer and you hitch it to someone else, you got to be comfortable with. If you're the trailer, you got to be comfortable with when someone has the tractor and where you're going to go.
Yep.
You just got to know you line up with that person. But I think it does start with the people who started the business to have that kind of mentality of that vacations are good, time off are good, weekends off are fantastic. fantastic. And evenings, as many evenings as possible are off, are good, and you should strive to as many times as that. Because if you sacrifice your family for your business, you're not going to be here that long.
Yeah.
If we can create an organization where our people can work 30, say we could create an organization where our people could work 30 hours a week, and we could be extremely profitable business, how many people will we have knocking on our door?
Right.
I'm not saying we're there yet, but if we could get there,
Yep.
and we get people high incomes and working less and less and less, I mean, we have an organization that every single person on the planet would want to work for. Right?
I feel like I'm already seeing that. For example, I've got an autoresponder on my email that I put on in the evenings that says something along the lines of, outside of business hours, in order to be truly present with my family, I try to stay away from work-related email unless it's an emergency, basically. Right. And I've had so many agents, and I don't, unless it's an emergency, unless an offer comes in or something like that, something I have to deal with, I pretty much ignore email in the evenings. And I've had agents respond to that autoresponder and say, that's
phenomenal,
awesome that you get to do that. And I want to say, come work for our team, and we're going to help you do that too.
Right. It's an interesting thought.
Because it's very uncommon in this industry.
It's so uncommon. And I just asked myself if I have the best doctor on the planet, okay, or say the best doctor in Minnesota, would I expect him to answer my email at 7 p.m.? And if he is the best, is he going to be answering at 7? No, because he's going to have a life worth living because he puts in the hours during when he's there, and he's going to be the best. And that's the same thing as a real estate agent.
And you trust your doctor to be able to discern what's an emergency and what's not. If your arm has fallen off and you're bleeding out, your doctor's going to respond. Okay? But if you got a cough, you know that he doesn't need to respond the next day, and you trust him with that, that he knows that as well.
Right.
In real estate, we need to change the industry so that our clients know that we know what's an emergency and what's not.
Right.
Okay, so we've hired the best people. They're all driven. We're helping protect them from themselves. And then you guys like to talk, you and Sarah like to talk a lot about abundance as well. How does that play out?
I mean, another high-level topic that we talk about where, it's not, just say, what's abundance? Abundance to someone else is going to be different in another situation. So what we look at as abundance, and it's interesting to sit up on camera and be talking about this because you're putting
your money where your mouth is.
That's right.
Literally.
Money where your mouth is. I can just think of the situation after situation after situation where we've come up, where there's been issues in the business, or there's been things where we said where we could get away with maybe not doing, and I'm like Sarah, and she's on the same page as with. Are we thinking of this situation in abundance? Are we in scarcity mindset? Meaning, like, if Nate wanted to go for $1,000 and go to a training event, would we say yes to further his growth, to give him more opportunity down the road, or would we say no? And I'm not saying that we aren't a frugal company that watches its money.
Right, we're
because,
careful.
I think that's being a steward of your resources. But there's a certain situation in there. There's situations that present themselves frequently, and saying, like, thinking bigger and not trying to get away with spending the cheap thing. It's even like the camera. It's even like Nate's computer. We're saying, okay, could we have gotten a camera for $100 cheaper? Yes. But we think we want to be doing this for a long time, so let's think of this in abundance. So spend an extra $200, $100, and get the right one.
Yep.
And not to say that we don't buy the wrong stand, and then like, oh, we try to save $10 on that. It's not that, but we, as many of the situations as we can, especially the big situations, we look at ourselves and say, how can we give the agents more money? How can we give our people more money? And make sure it works for the business, but we're always trying to protect them.
And not only does that mindset of abundance and generosity really feel good as a leader, but it really creates a lot of drive and a lot of loyalty in your company as well, I think. I think a piece of where my drive in the team and my loyalty to the team comes from is that we've probably had, Josh and I, maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 conversations over the years where Josh has said, hey, could we do this tweak to the structure of how your pay works? And I usually don't look very deeply into the numbers of that, and I just which I don't know, maybe that's never been to my detriment. And my response is always the same. It's always, you guys have always been super generous to me. I don't have any reason to doubt that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And it's always
awesome.
held true, and it really makes me driven to do really well for the team, and I'm loyal to the team.
Right. I think of Josh Champ. He's come to me a half dozen times. No, probably more than that. Probably 10 times or so in certain situations with money. And every single time he's trying to figure out how to save the company money, or save the company money, or not get more money where he could have taken more in a certain situation. And I'm just like, there's been so many times I've been like, okay, that's good, and I try to fight back, and now I'm like, no, I'm like, no, you're taking this. This is what you get. This is what we want you to do. We want you to get to a place where you can leverage yourself out and help other people work and build the company.
Yep.
If we keep saying no, you're never going to be able to get in that place. So that's. You have to get to that place where abundance just rules your decision making, and then you're going to be with people that are going to be. And I just want to be around people that feel that way. And so when you're like that, it attracts those type of people, and then it just creates more of that, and it's just a thing that keeps going down. So maybe the last thing we should talk about is just our profit sharing system. I mean,
sure.
just super simple. We took it right on to page 209 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. We have that profit share program in place, and that's the same thing. Is that if our people here are busting their butt and we're having a great company and we hit our goals. It's not really even if we hit our goals. It's just that if we became profitable over a certain amount, we're going to share that because they're a part of that. And
they have everything to do with it.
But you could make the argument. Some people I've heard say, well, they got a salary, they get their commissions, they should be fine with that. But I would say, well, what does it hurt to be generous? Right?
Exactly. What does it hurt?
What's the hurt if you take that extra money and you put it in something that you don't even really care about versus giving it to the people that are busting their butt to having a great
I guarantee you the people who benefit from the profit share aren't working hard because of the amount of money in the profit share.
Yeah,
they're working hard because
point.
it's awesome that you care enough about them to create a profit share.
Yeah. So I think that says a lot about the leaders of a company, and just right there, it says a lot about the leaders of the company and and then those people are going to be attracted to those type of people. And I just always ask myself, if I'm part of an organization and if I'm an employee, if I work my butt and when the company's doing really, really good, I mean, if there was nothing of a financial benefit, I would look at it like, I don't need money on every single thing I do, but if the management isn't back behind me, supporting me to when we do goods, if I have to share into that, I'd kind of question their motives. And not to say that we don't have things that we do wrong, because we do things wrong all the time, I'm sure. But right. I mean, it's having some of those fundamental things, placeholders in the business or in how you think of things that just kind of snowball over time and get you over the tough parts in the business.
Right.
So.
Yep, exactly. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Teaming Up Show. We believe real estate teams are the future of the real estate industry and love creating these videos because we want to provide some helpful tools and resources. And
if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to please write them in there. Let us know how bad we suck, whatever. Let us know what's going on with us or going on in your situation so that we can help you. I mean, just something simple, whatever. We've been through a lot. I know we can.
We've seen it.
We've seen it, or we can help you through it. So definitely feel free to put your thoughts or comments into our Teaming Up videos.
Yep. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.